Alright, sorry about that, guys. I had something just pop up last second, so I had to go take care of it real quick, but I thankfully I managed to get it taken care of. Alright, so today I kind of want to do some game design doc stuff and also work out some game feature mechanics. There's a couple reasons why. This is going to be a longer term project that I'm going to be working on this side, and I want to make sure I have everything prepared beforehand. Oh, that was very loud. Sorry. I was pulling up a video to demonstrate what I'm thinking about doing. So for anybody that doesn't know, whenever you're like creating like game developer projects and stuff, there's a lot of times where you'll do something like how this guy is doing, where you actually like mock up like the code structure kind of before you actually start like creating the actual game. And the reason why is it helps you like figure out like how long certain features will take, what you need to do first. So like this feature relies on that and so forth. And it really can help lower the amount of refactoring you do later on. And it can also actually make or break a project, because if you actually have good planning beforehand, you can actually save costs by not having to spend time redoing stuff. It's kind of important. Yeah, anyways, just want to mention that. So let's actually start working on it, and we'll go into Unity in a bit, but I wanted to just mention like that's the whole idea of what I'm going to be doing. So a couple things. This is going to be a project. I'll also have like little stream notes at the bottom, that way some people can see. What I'll do is I'll just say project. I'll make a little like note thing, that way people can actually like see it. Actually, instead of having it on the side, I'll put it like right here. Not mean to. There we go. Oh, you can't even see the line. There we go. I'm gonna make some stream notes for anybody for viewers. That way, whenever people come in, they can know like what we're doing. Three-player ARPG. So there we go. All right, let's begin. So let's go over what kind of mechanics I'm going to be needing. There's going to be a multiplayer system and all that kind of stuff. So we will actually be needing to think about that as well, which is kind of important, because depending on what kind of stuff you have, you might have to like do certain game mechanics differently. And there we go. Sorry, I'm a little underprepared. Like I said, a couple things popped up and I had to like do them real quick. Yeah, so let's actually go and start setting some of this stuff up. Let's say, what do we need? Well, I'm gonna create a note here. I'm gonna say, or actually, instead of note, let's actually create a canvas real quick. I'm gonna create a new canvas. I'm gonna say movement canvas. So what do we need movement wise? So the project I'm working on, we already have some like the movement stuff broken down, so I don't have to worry about certain things. Like no jumping. Yeah, no jumping and so forth. Got like certain stuff like set up already for that. So let's basically start this. So for movement, how are we gonna do movement? Okay, yeah. Trying to think. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna just assume like pausing. This is actually gonna be like the official start of stream. I'll just cut out the first 4 minutes. We're gonna start with setting things up. So whenever we make a game, there's a couple different things like we want to think about, like making like character movement. Is the character movement going to be like a physics based? So like questions for character controllers. I'm gonna just like make a note here. Actually, instead of doing canvas for this, let's actually do movement structure. I'm gonna actually just do here movement structure, or like a structure. Yeah, we'll do this. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna think about a couple different things here. Things to keep in mind. Rigid or dynamic body versus kinematic body. Let's see. First person versus first person versus third person. Like camera. I don't know why I'm capitalizing these, but that's okay. I'll just do like a brain blast moment, or we're gonna do like a little brain blast moment. So we're not gonna organize stuff for a moment. We're gonna just get a couple questions out. You know, we need to think about like gonna be like a first person camera, third person setup. Players interaction across game clients. We're gonna need to think about that. You know what? Yeah, basically kind of this. And I know like camera may seem weird to put inside movement, but like depending on like how smooth your camera is, like field of view and stuff, really change like how like movement feels. All right, so how are we wanting to do some of these things? So what I'm gonna do is, I think what I want to have is basically a base character controller class. Yeah, we'll have a character controller base, and basically for anything that is a character. Controls the physics and some character dedicated logic. All right, so yeah, you know we're gonna need like a character controller base, and the reason why I want to have a base class is because we might have like things like grounded enemies that will like act differently compared to like flying enemies. So that's one thing, and so basically have like a base class, and you can basically like build on top of them based on like stuff like that, or like sorry, instead of saying enemies, I need to say characters because it's going to be like used for like even NPCs that might be like fighting our allies in combat. Now, a couple things we could think about here is, instead of thinking about it in terms of like creating like a grounded controller, maybe like say grounded controller versus a flying controller. And like we could do it this way as well. We could have it where the controller base class has like a let's say controller properties. We could say like have like controller properties, and then basically have it where this is like a interface that basically defines any type of movement. I spelled that wrong. I'll well, grammar check. Any type of properties for movement. What we could do is, instead of having these like inherit from the character controller, we could actually just have like two different classes, like and they're basically just instead of mono behaviors in Unity, just like C# classes that implement the controller properties. And what we could do is like the character controller base could have like a variable called like a public like a iController or yeah, I could say iCharacter controller, and basically like I could do something like this where like both these just inherit from it, and then we can just assign whatever type of enemy we want into the character controller base. So we would have just like one base class or like one character controller class, and they would just like inside of it there would be like a variable that we could switch out. So we could do it this way. Or we could just have the character controller base actually inherit from, or like the grounded controller and flying controller actually inherit from them. What I might do is might actually have something like this. Okay, so instead of having like the, oh, actually, you know what? I could also do something like this where the character control, like the character controller has a public variable for controller, and I just like say just like say set it to one of these and just use a serializable reference. The reason why is maybe like you want to do different logic whenever you're like referencing controller. There's a couple different ways we could do it, but that's one thing. Like I'm actually leaning towards more of like this idea for like character controller. And basically what this would allow me to do, I could like implement like movement methods. We could have like a state machine for like non-playable enemies or like characters and so forth. So state, like we would have like a state machine brain that controls like the states. Logic. And I just like move this up. And this would be for like anything that's not the like a player, because for players I want to use something a little bit different other than the state machine brain. And the reason why is since it's going to be like multiplayer, I need like send certain like information and stuff over network. It would only be like during like character selection, not like well, I mean, there's a couple different talks about how to send data over network based on like a build controllers. Yeah, so basically this is what we're doing today. We're gonna like brainstorm a couple different things, and then inside of Unity we're gonna actually like start implementing them. I want to get them out like a brainstorm first, that way I don't like change my mind and then like have to refactor a couple things because I realize, oh, this is a bad idea. Yeah, so what we'll have a character controller base, we'll have a grounded controller, and basically they'll all implement like the AI controller properties, and the iController properties can be like set up like this. So I'm going to say grounded properties, like grounded speed, grounded walk speed, just for example, and then like then have like a grounded run speed. The reason why I would do it this way is because like then for like the flying controller, we would have like flying controller properties. And flying controller properties, like you don't need you for flying characters, you obviously don't need like grounded walk speed or run speed. You also don't need like for grounded character controller, you mostly need like a gravity scale. And for most flying controller properties, most of the time you wouldn't need like a gravity scale, depending on how you're like doing certain things. You might not need like a gravity scale since the enemies are constantly in like a in flight. What you might need is like a descent speed or something like that instead. And yeah, basically that's the idea. So basically have an interface called iController properties, have like a grounded controller properties that inherit from or like inherits from controller properties, and then same thing with like flyer controller properties. Grounded controller and flying controller both inherit from the character controller base class, and they each of them just could have like their own like eye controller properties. And honestly, what we could do is we could actually put the eye controller properties in the base class, and then but in each class that inherits from the character controller base, we just assign it. Like for example, actually, I think I might have like a good example for this. I'm gonna actually open another project real quick, just so I can show this off. And the reason why I want to do this is one, it allows me to like customize a few different things for like environmental effects. Like imagine like you are like running on ice or like in a gravity zone, stuff like that. Okay, yeah. So and it opens up on my left screen. Okay, let me bring this over here. So like an example, here's Metroidvania project. If I'm gonna click play real quick. Always love like the first interplay. So the little Metroidvania project thing, if I actually go to my character controller, we have player controller that has character state, but as you see, we have like the default physics, like ground speed, running speed, ground acceleration, stuff like that. At the current moment, I don't have like a separate thing for like flying enemies. So I'm fixing that currently because like if I were to like just add like the bat enemy, actually we can go to the skull, like just show this off. So this project is like my giant like testing ground. Like this entire project is basically my giant testing ground. Okay, yeah. Let's if we go to the skull real quick, and go to him. If I actually go to instead of like a controller, he currently just has like a state brain where he just follows like a pathfinding grid to like the player once he like senses him, and I just have like a speed value there. I kind of want to like change that to be like a flying movement properties thing because it'll allow me to do a lot more flexibility. Yeah, that's my first thought. And another thing, benefit of doing it this way, this work for 2D and 3D. I could actually just make this as like a little package I can import it to any project and work for like anything that needs like grounded character controllers or flying controllers, stuff like that. So it could be used in multiple different projects while being flexible and lower the time of what I need. So yeah, so thinking about this might be how I do that. And also another idea of breaking down properties is like, let's say I'm gonna actually like open up, create a folder for weapons. Weapon structure. A lot of people have always like wondered like how can you create like enchanted weapons, like enchantment system or crafting system, or like do like upgrades, or like how you create multiple items. One thing you could do is actually create like a weapon property system. So if I actually go to equipment, this is all work in progress. If I actually go to equipment and if I actually go to a projectile weapon here, I can actually have like, for example, a weapon data called like chargeable weapon data. And I can actually choose whatever type of like weapon property or want to put on it. So I want this weapon to be chargeable, want to have like a base damage and so forth. But I can also add like projectile weapon properties as well. So if I actually add that, I can actually choose like how many projectiles it does. And you can then like you can create different types of like weapon data properties. And you can just turn them into building blocks, allowing you to create like multiple different types of weapons. Like for instance, the current moment, like this weapon would like shoot 10 shots instead of just like one. But I also can make it where it's chargeable. So I can also have it be like a chargeable shot weapon where like I can just actually go into our projectile weapon data stuff, and I can actually demonstrate the usefulness of this. Because you're seeing an editor might not be like stuff. Also, yeah, this is literally just what that class is. It's empty. That's another nice thing about it. Like, let's do just like a chargeable weapon property. Yeah, okay. Let's find this real quick. I believe it's Do weapon properties. Where are my weapon properties? Oh, I might have actually forgot where I put which folder I put these in because I was just I think I might have put them in the sandbox folder. There we go. Okay. Oh right, I was actually moving everything into the toolkit that I was working on. Yeah, I was like, man, where did I move them? That's actually what I was middle of doing. Okay, so like for example, chargeable weapon property. I could have it where where is it? It should be right here. Yeah. All right. So this is the class for our projectile weapons. If I want to make it where I can add more projectiles or like different weapon properties, all I have to do is just inherit from weapon property base. Now, if I actually like grabbed it, or if I actually like do that, and let's actually go here. I'm going to say, let me actually just show this off real quick because let's do vector 2 start. Actually, technically, we should be doing. Forgot, I need to be moving these from vectors to floats instead. Let's do float to spread area start. I'm going to just like demonstrate this real quick. Love how fast or how long it takes to recompile. I'm so looking forward to core CLR. People are probably tired of like hearing that from everybody. All right, so let's go back to web data real quick. I'm actually gonna like just block this that way I don't have to do it. Okay, so now literally all I did was add the weapon property base here and just made like an example value. And now I can see it inside my drop-down menu. So now I have a thing called property spread. Now I can actually say spread area. So like, let's say we have a shotgun and we want to have it where it starts off like a spread is like in the very center of like where your cursor is. So like a spread start would be like a basically calculate where the center of your cursor would be. And then like you can do like a spread angle limit stuff like that there. But basically the idea is you can make a modular system where you could actually create like different types of weapons and just add whatever properties you want to that weapon. Like let's say we have like a maybe a elemental weapon. Like maybe you want to have like elemental weapons like fire, ice, or so forth. I could just add a elemental weapon property, and then I could just like add it to this one item, and boom, this weapon is now an elemental weapon, stuff like that. Or maybe have like a weapon that does extra undead damage, stuff like that. So things like that I want to design out. I'm gonna actually add a weapon data, and let's just say structure. So basically, I want to go more into thinking about that. This stream is going to be me just randomly throwing down ideas. It's not going to be too organized because I just need to get down to ideas, and then once I get the ideas down, I need to start like organizing and actually preparing them. This is basically a scriptable object. Let's say list of weapon properties. All right. It thinks that I'm like switching to HTML. Basically, like list of weapon each weapon data will have like a list of properties. Trying to think if I want. Oh yeah, I can also make it where like maybe one is like a projectile. Oh yeah, we'll do this. I'm actually thinking projectiles are just going to be its own projectile data, and I'm gonna just actually, yeah, I'll have like projectiles actually inherit from weapon data because I do have an idea to make it a little bit easier for damage calculations and stuff. We have like projectile data. We can have like a ranged weapon ranged weapon, like range data, or yeah, we'll say range weapon data. And the reason why I'm separating projectile data and range data, imagine you have a melee weapon. Imagine you have a melee weapon that, like, when it creates like a sword slash, like a shockwave. That's going to be like a very important thing. And the reason why I also want to have like like specific like projectile data, range weapon data, and so forth, is I want to make it where there's certain data, like there's certain data types that are only assignable to certain things. So like for example, list like the what I might do is like sorry, weapon property. Let's do weapon properties. Weapon property. Actually, I call that like weapon property base, right? Yeah, we'll say weapon property base, and we'll go from there. So weapon property base defines a weapon. So basically, it describes the trait of a weapon. I'm gonna just actually I'm gonna move that around. Yeah, so projectile data and will be separate. So like I'm imagining like you have like a sword or something that like can shoot out a shockwave. Well, that would be I would count that shockwave as projectile. So I think projectile data could actually be used inside both weapon and range data. So we're gonna separate those out. Try and think of like what kind of like projectile properties we might want. Projectile properties. Oh, you know what? Here's a one property that I could think of. Heat seeking. Yeah, heat seeking. Let's do heat seeking, and then like I guess spread type. So like basically is it like a shotgun style, like shotgun single shot, like a single shotgun spread something like this, like shotgun style, like single stuff like that. We're gonna be trying to. I mean, there's probably more projectiles. One second, I gotta open my door real quick. My dog's wanting. Here you go, Daisy. All right, there we go. All right, so another projectiles properties we want melee. Actually, I'm gonna say probably weapon property. The reason why I want to do like a weapon property, it's like this could be used for both range and melee. And one example of that would be attack rate. So like one would be like an example of a weapon property would be attack rate. Both melee and range weapons might need that. Maybe recovery rate. So like how long it takes for you before you can like do another attack. So maybe like attack delay. And if you're doing chaining attacks. Useful for animation syncing. So if you're doing like imagine Elden Rings where you have like your character like doing a couple like sword swing chains in a row, and each like the first three are different animations. It's kind of useful for like syncing up like how long before the next animation needs to start playing, stuff like that. Or if you're doing like heavy or light attack, so maybe you can do like switch between like doing a light attack with a weapon or a heavy attack, and each one takes a different recovery rate, stuff like that. And attack rate, recovery rate probably like recovery rate calculates or helps calculate like your attack rate, stuff like that. So basically, yeah. So weapon property would be something used for range and weapons. And for range, like for example, like just a range property. So like range weapon property, like a range weapon property. One example would be like, okay, what type of projectiles can this weapon shoot? Projectile type: arrows, crossbolts, bullets. So basically, you can actually like choose like what kind of like a different kind of like a projectile and stuff like that. I mean that might be useful for might be useful also for melee weapons as well. I'll have to figure that out. Basically, like an idea would be like a, let's say let's just do this. Let's say public enum. I could say like a projectile type, and I'm gonna just say like clearly these three. I'm gonna just come here. I'm gonna just copy these three, and we're gonna say equals. Make sure this is a U short. So we could do something like this where we have a oh yeah, okay, yeah. So we're gonna say here public projectile type. Projectile type. Now if like I go back into actually I might not want to put that in the base class. Okay, well I'm gonna actually need to take that out like the base class thing. But for example, like now we have like we could choose like, okay, this is shooting 10 arrows or like 10 bullets, stuff like that. Now it's like a chargeable weapon too. So maybe like we could also make it where like for example, we have our projectiles per shot here. What we might also do as well is just have it where maybe we want something like this, like a projectile chargeable, like maybe like a chargeable weapon properties where projectile like projectiles minimum let's say minimum projectile minimum charge amount. Right, yeah, this sounds like okay, bad name convention, but you know what, it gets the idea around. No, I do not know why JetBrains Writer also do that. Like we could have also something like this basically. So imagine you have a chargeable weapon where when you first fire, like if you only do like a no charge, you only shoot one projectile. But if you do like a like if you fully charge it, you do you shoot like 5 projectiles. So basically, like the idea of this system is like you can customize each weapon. Now instead of like I'll actually like take away this one, and instead I'll add a something like this. Actually, I probably should just put it inside of. What we'll do is we'll actually put it inside of the one because I just realized that I already have something that I can use like that. If I actually, yeah, I forgot about this one. I'll actually do this. Anyways, so that's the idea. Basically, create. We're going to be thinking of ways to make it where you could create different customization, weapon properties, stuff like that. So yeah, there we go. Now I can actually get rid of this. Now we have it where like this could be a bullet now. So I can actually just say like a shotgun. We're gonna just rename this to electro shotgun. Okay, ignore the 2 L's at the very beginning. Yeah, so now we have like a little electro shotgun that has like a base damage, like allows you to like change like how many shots are shot per, or how many projectiles are shot depending on how much you charge it and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the idea. So range range weapon properties to what I might actually want to do is I might actually want to want to actually have like some of these be like interface. Reason why is because again, I'm thinking of scenarios where like you can like shoot a shockwave. Hey Commando, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Currently just trying to create a system where I can like customize different like weapons and also different characters before I start like really heavily get into code. That way I can have it like planned out and not have to like redo stuff later on. Basically, I'm doing game design like planning for a new project I'm going to be working on for a contract. Just small contract, but hey, it is a contract. All right. Anyways, that's the general idea, guys. Like, basically, I mean, I gotta come back and like make this super detailed. But I just want to like show off like basically what I'm planning on doing is like today I'm gonna be like setting up a lot of the design stuff for this. I'm gonna brainstorm stuff out and then I'm gonna make like actual like very detailed outline of things. But that's all I'm thinking. Like for like that's like my first thought for weapon system. That way I could have like a customizable melee and range weapons. Because with this, I could reuse a lot of the logic for like a weapon spread for projectiles, like charging system, like stuff like that. And I wouldn't have to worry about having to recode it like similar logic over and over again. So it lowers the amount I have to code. But yeah, going to movement system, let's actually start like talking about like this. Let's actually focus on this for a second. So grounded enemies, flying enemies. I'm gonna focus on the grounded real quick. So like for the grounded character controller, we also need like grounded like let's say acceleration. And also let's say deceleration. Also, I'm gonna say I don't need the word walk or like sorry the word grounded inside the ground controller. It's in the grounded controller. Everyone knows, or like hopefully anybody that sees like the code and works on project will understand. Like okay, it's in the grounded controller. They mean grounded walk speed, run walk speed. I might have like a different like mid. Oh, actually no. The project I'm working on won't be having like a lot of like jumping or combat stuff, so I don't have to worry about like mid-air physics calculations for like differences. But yeah, let's do rising speed, like rising speed, move speed. Back and forth. Just for clarity. I know. So, grounded controller. Yeah, I think I want to do that. I want to see how this actually looks inside the inspector. Okay, for example, if I actually go here and I say, let me go my scripts in my sandbox folder. Let's do character controller. I like to have stuff in my sandbox folder because I have it where anything in my sandbox folder is not like sent inside of like a GitHub or like my Git repo and stuff. Let's do this. Let's say controller base. Let's say character controller base. And hopefully everyone that here in Chatter, everyone that sees this, hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day enjoying the start of spring. I don't know about everyone else, but like I really like the start of spring. I don't do well in the code. Not at all. No, for a second I was gonna be like, why is there no namespace for characters? Now I remember I put in my sandbox. My namespace for characters is inside the other assembly. But yeah, I just want to test this out. Basically, I'm thinking something like this. So we have like a public interface for like a controller properties, and this is actually going to be completely blank. That's literally all I need right there. Then I'll have like a grounded properties, and this one actually inherits from iController. And the reason why I would want to do this is make this abstract real quick. Why I would want to do this is I could actually have like a public like T here, and I could say like where T is like the controller properties. Oh. Oh, my formatting here is like really bad. Whoops, 1 second. Where T is hide controller properties. There we go. I had a random like but now, well, any class, like let's say I have like I know I'm getting like a lot of random classes here, but if I do controller base now, what I could do is I could say this is a grounded controller. So I could say grounded controller, and I can actually pass in a iGround properties. So now this is going to be like a controller properties. Just to demonstrate this off, I'm going to do this as well. This allows me basically, this is C#. Most of the time when I'm coding, I'm either coding in C#, UXML, which is a variant of XML, USS, which is a variant of CSS, or just plain up C. If I'm working on a 2D project, you might see me working in just pure C or assembly because of certain multi-threading and custom physics systems. But today I get to work in pure C#. Yeah, just to demonstrate the reason why you might want to do this. Flying properties. So I could have now a class that inherits from character controller, and now I'm gonna need to create a couple mono behaviors real quick after it recompiles. Blah blah blah. All right, so let's do this real quick. I need to create let's do a flying controller, and we'll do a grounded controller, and I'll demonstrate why this is useful. I'm gonna also wait for it to finish recompiling. Yep, I was like, do. Okay, there we go. All right, grounded controller. All right, so the reason why I might want something like this, if I actually go to characters now, I'm actually gonna just take this and like run off with it. And I'll go ahead and also open like the flyer controller real quick. So if I do something like this, take these and just shove them in here real quick. That way they're actually like near where they're supposed to be. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna save all this real quick just to demonstrate this. So let's say we have like a public like abstract like a move method, and basically like anything inside this move method, anything inside this move method basically describes how like a controller moves. Now with this, I can have the grounded controller implement it, and also like the flying controller implement like their own version to move. So like in like the flying controller, we would have movement more on the vertical axis, instead, like because flying enemies, like imagine a bat or like a flying dinosaur or something, or like a dragon, they'd be able to like actually move in the air and so forth. But we would have it where I could have public, let's say virtual, or actually, yeah, I guess virtual. Wait, actually, no, these need to be protected. Void, we'll actually do a fix update here. Now I can do any calculation here, and both the flying and the grounded controller will both actually use its logic. So now I can write the logic once inside character controller base, and both grounded and flying controller will have them. So I don't have to like redo, well, I don't have to retype a lot of logic. A lot of logic will already be done. So like, for example, I could do certain types of like collision related stuff here. Or like character state checking. Let's do character like state checks, anything like that. And then once state goes through like the character state checks and like the collision related checks, once that is done, whatever the grounded controller and like the flying controller needs to do, it'll do. So that's why I'm doing it this way. I can share some of the logic between different types of character controllers without having to rewrite a lot of it. And let me tell you, that definitely it can make life a lot easier. It can lower the like complexity of a project when you have a lot of different types of characters and stuff. That's one of the reasons why you generally do this. And just to show this off, like another useful thing is actually before I forget, remove that because it'll like give me a little screen thing. Just to show this. Here later, Unity will finish reloading domain. I might have to check to see like I'm able to speed up the domain reload. I was actually in the middle of doing that, like moving stuff over to assemblies and stuff for this new project, because technically this is a new project. Let's say now I have like a bat, and let's have like a orc here. So we have like a bat and an orc. This bat now can have a flying controller. The orc can have like a grounded controller. And let's say I want to add a property to both of them now. So let's say they both are going to share like a property. I can say like a rigid body. I'm going to just say actually make this private and serialize this. So I'm only adding this in like one place now, but like I can just put in like both the orc and bat will both like now have like a rigid body thing, and like that's common like inheritance, right? The difference between what I am doing though is actually this part. So I can now say public let's say float, let's say ground speed, yeah, let's say walk speed. I say like run speed. I'm just gonna add like 8 stuff like that. Oh, technically since this is actually interface, right, I need to change like this C# version. I gotta the project uses to do what I was originally gonna type up, but that's okay. So I can actually do this now. And now like nothing really shows up, right? Like because I forgot to go here and say serializable reference. So what's about to happen is I'm going to make it where this value changes depending on like grounded or flying. Let's go ahead and do like a public like float flying speed, or like let's just say speed, and then we gotta say get set. Let's do flying controller real quick. I'm actually gonna do private structure, and I'm gonna just grab those controller properties. I'm gonna say controller properties equals let's say I flying properties, or oh, you know what? Does this version of C#? Okay, we're gonna test out something. I don't think this version of C# supports what no. Okay, I was hoping. So that's okay. I was gonna try something really, really weird, but it would have made things a little bit easier for what I was wanting to do. God, man, only 2 or 3 more bumps until Unity 6.7, and I can start doing some of the nicer things. But we're gonna do flying properties, and I'm gonna say this implements iFlying properties because we technically need to have this in here. And this needs to be a struct, not a class, for design reasons of other things as serializable. There. Also need. First, it may seem like it's like a lot of extra setup, but what it will allow me to do will cut a lot of time. And I am working on a kind of a ARPG multiplayer. It's going to be a 3-player per like session ARPG multiplayer. Basically, I have a client that I'm going to be designing like different game mechanics for, and I'm testing out ideas for it. Like for example, I just like started like testing out ideas for like different types of enemies for like flying and stuff like that. And it's going to be kind of a mix of like not as hard as Elden Rings, but think of like a mix of like Skyrim style and Elden Ring combat. I'm just now working on the foundation system of it. So Rofel, I'm so sorry if I say your name wrong, but that's basically where we're going. I'm currently just testing out how to do a couple different things. So I'm going to say new flying properties, and hopefully, if my idea works, the versions of C# Unity uses should support this thing. I'm also going to go here, and if my idea works, this should make it where I now have a customizable like character system where I can just like drag and drop different like character properties. And then we're going to actually implement the missing features for here, and do that. And now we should have like a start of like flying and grounded like customizable characters, where we could actually like do different properties and stuff. And for the grounded controller, just do private ground controller, and assign the constructor here. We can literally, I hate that shortcut. I could say like controller properties. So just like how we have controller properties equals new flying, I could literally do the same thing. So exact same logic here, but instead of saying flying properties, I could say grounded properties. And now both flying enemies and grounded enemies can share some of the logic, so I don't have to rewrite everything. And it will move to like basically just setting up a few set of things. All right, so at first, like controller properties and stuff doesn't actually show up inside the inspector. Reason why is because we're technically trying to like serialize a interface and not a like struct or something. Like even if our like if I were to go here, yeah, see, Kate said serializable on like a grounded or like a interface. So how does this work then? How do we have it where it actually appears inside the inspector and we start getting a fully customizable thing? Well, Unity has this thing called iSerializable callback. Got to be careful with this though, like implementing it this way. The reason why is when, like in the future, like if I start like using a project inside a core CLR, core CLR does not actually support or like actually have like a iSerializable thing. Like if I actually go, sorry, it goes from like dark mode to white mode. So sorry for the flashbang, everyone. I didn't think about that. I should have like warned everybody. But if I actually go into the top here, Unity actually mentions like some of the changes of. Okay, I know there is a new post. Okay, there is a actual post by Unity that actually has like a. That was the first one they did for core CLR updates. Oh yeah, here's one. So I gotta be careful with what I'm about to change. Oh no, that's the same one. Oh, is it called upgrade? I think it's like upgrade guide or something. Or like oh yeah, upgrade guide. Yeah, here it is. So yeah, okay. This is the one I was talking about. So if we actually go down here, what's being removed from Unity? Unity will actually be removing. Oh god, that's gonna be a fun one. I gotta rewrite a lot of my C code for my custom physics. But pretty sure they are removing. I mean, if they're going to core CLR, they should be changing the iSerializable or iSerialization callback. So I got to be careful with how I'm about to implement this. If I don't want to have to like rewrite it back in the future. Okay, let me find it. Let me see if they mention it in post. Because depending on what I read in this, I might have to change like how I'm about to do it. Okay, that's one of the things I'm going to be doing on stream. I'm also going to be researching different like things, preparing for a major update in the game engine we use because we use core CLR in general. Like it should be just a performance improvement, and if we're going to be doing multiplayer, you kind of want that. There are like I mean performance improvement every. Okay, we'll be doing this. Okay. Yeah. Now, for prototypes that can't be serialized or deserialized otherwise. Yeah, okay. I want to know. Can we do this on like just interfaces? Because about the use of I want to see this. I'm sure there's a. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Just want to make sure, like, what I'm about to be doing. So, like, I shape. Oh, they actually got, like, a little example. Okay, yeah. So, Okay. And actually, public. Okay, yeah. So, that's literally what I was thinking. Just want to make sure. I was want to make sure the iSerialization callback will be working on like that. So I know I need to have it on like around stuff. Okay, so this is gonna be where we do some experimenting to see if like we can get this all working. I actually go to here. Make sure that. I wonder if you. Oh, I want to check something out. If I actually go, I want to actually test something out. Let's actually remove this. This is gonna be fun if this. Okay, yeah, that is okay. So it is already actually working. It is already actually working. Oh, so what it is I actually added the constructor after I added the component. I literally created the component, added the component, and then like added a constructor. So that's why it didn't like appear at first. So if I actually like right click, yeah, now controller, now the serialization callback is actually working properly. Yeah. So now we have like one controller that actually can like do like some of the logic for both flying ground enemies. So now I can literally like start setting up just a single system that works for every type of enemy, whether it's a ghost, flying, swimming, stuff like that. So now if I want to do like, let's say check collision, I could literally do check collision here. If I could spell right. Oh wow, just yeah. My brain is not working today apparently. Like on collision. Yep, okay. On collision, or like we could do like check collision here, and then we could this method would actually like be called in both of the ground and flying controller classes, stuff like that. And the reason why I would want to do something like that, okay, so hear me out with this. Let's say a reason why I would want to have like the check collision be like implemented inside the abstract class and then overrideable. What if we have a ghost enemy, like enemy that can like go through walls? What we want to do instead of like implementing the same check collision logic that is for like ground controller or flying controller, we might want to have like a ghost, like a kind of like a ghost controller that can fly or something like that, and basically just ignore that logic. So that's why I'm gonna like instead of just saying protected void, I'm gonna make it a virtual. That way I can like override it and everything. Thought I heard my dog at my door. Yeah, so that's basically the idea. Is trying to figure out ways to actually make like a customizable system. I think this is actually like what I was designing here. I think that or like what I was thinking is actually going to work. I just got to remember to actually set up the constructors first. Yeah, so that's the idea of it. Let's actually before I get more into like coding and actually creating stuff, we actually need to get more of like the ideas down for like how characters and stuff act. So like we need to get like our state machine brains stuff, like ideas out of the way. Actually, like keep this up just so I can demonstrate a few things at the same time. So state machine brain like can be used to like control characters. Basically, like my idea is to make like characters that can react to the world for different things. Like basically, each character has like a set of states they can enter, and each state has like each state basically. We'll actually disconnect that for a second. Each state basically, but just for people viewing this, make it easier so they don't have to like squint their eyes. Each state basically has like a list of decisions. And basically, the decisions choose like, do they go to a new state, or do they stay in the current state, or like what happens, like or go idle, something like that. Like for example, a decision could be like we could have like a sensory stuff, so like five like sense decisions. But I feel like I spelled that wrong. Like decisions. So like for example, we could have like a hearing sight. So we can make it where like one enemy is a blind enemy, and like his decisions are based off his sight. Okay, I'm gonna have to like, I spelled this right. Okay, I did. I thought I spelled decisions wrong for some reason. But basically, like, we can make it where certain enemies have like change states based on their hearing. So example of like a hearing one. Actually, yeah, let's do this. Patrolling guard. And goes to search state or something like that. So basically, you could have like decisions allow you to basically just like control how like each state of a character works. So like I'm gonna say like control state. Nope. Gonna have like a search state, stuff like that. Basically, we could have a state machine behavior for each character. It's like basically the brain, and then you actually have where each state can choose decisions. I do think like having like a global decision, so like a um, basically making it where like there's a global set of decisions that happen no matter what kind of state would be good, like optional but like not needed. Just oh sorry, optional but can be useful as well. Um, I mean, if you really want to go too far, I'm not kidding. You could maybe have like okay, this is gonna sound weird. Here's an example of going way too far for game customization. Maybe you have a quest that you can like in a game, and basically like it's like a cooking tutorial. Like I don't know, imagine like maybe RuneScape or something. Like here's an example, like RuneScape or like any game you can like cook in. You could actually have like a quest where like the character hates spicy food, and you can literally like have one of his decisions based on if you like hand him a piece of food that's spicy or sweet. So like maybe like if you give him something sweet and he actually likes sweet stuff, he'll actually give you a different reward, like a better reward. Or if like you give him like spicy stuff, maybe he's allergic to like certain spices and he just falls over, and you can just like take whatever is off his body. Morbid, but I mean that's literally just an example. So like the state decision will be something you can think about. But yeah, so you could have state decisions based off like different senses, smell. Maybe if you want to have like a really good detailed game, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen this before in a game. A habit where like maybe like certain enemies hate certain smells. Maybe like for example, maybe you have like a little side quest. You have to like go through like a forest, and you there's like enemies that can be like annoying, but maybe they hate the smell of like, or maybe they hate the smell of like a certain predator. So maybe like in game you can make it like buy like the blood of that monster from like a merchant store, alchemy shop, and put it on your character, and basically enemies that hate that the smell of that predator will actually not attack you and stay away from you. So like you could do a lot of stuff with like decisions based off like your five senses. Another thing you could do is like turns decisions is like distance or like I guess proximity decisions. I spelled proximity wrong. I don't know why I accidentally put E there. For example, like you could have enemies that literally attack within a distance, or stuff like that, or like you might actually be able to mix it with like a sight. Maybe there's like enemies like they can hear very good, but they are blind. But blind. So yeah, different things like that. So we're gonna I'll also be working on creating a system that you can do like this, because I'm imagining like maybe have like a little quest that you're inside of like a dungeon, like you get thrown into like a dungeon cell or something, and basically like the guard dogs there, they're blind, but like they're completely like, maybe they're like undead dogs, so they can't smell, or and like they lost their eyes, so they're like blind, but for some reason they can hear. I don't know, something like that. But that's just an example. Proximity decisions, though, it's like attack within distance of the character, guarding object, of something, and enemies attack. One example of like guarding object. Imagine maybe there's like a little like a, I don't know, maybe you're inside a shrine. Like you find like a little magical shrine. and undead appear or come out of the ground. Get near the shrine. Cool. Near the shrine, shrine's power source. Yeah, we'll say that. Something like that. So yeah. Anyways, different decisions. So state machine. I'm thinking of this. This is what I'm thinking for like a state machine. I'm gonna be honest. I originally said state machine controllers. But you can also use state machines for more than just characters. So you could have like a state machine that is also used for like a like I said, like maybe instead of having like the characters have like a state machine on them, maybe the shrine itself has the state machine brain on it, and you get too close to a shrine, and then like the shrine activates a cutscene, and that's when like zombies come out of the ground, and you gotta like start fighting like a horde of zombies, stuff like that. So those are random things. Yeah, just an example. So that's like one way you could do like different types of like flying enemies, ground enemies. That's how you could do like idea of like like guards that patrol enemies that are blind and like but have good hearing, stuff like that. So those are like different things you could do to like really make unique and kind of cool enemies without having to do extra coding, because a lot of times like people like each character, they will literally create a custom thing for that one character, which is usually overkill. Just create a set of like common states and decisions that could be used for multiple characters, and then just like do a building block system. Now there might be some like boss fights that are like so unique that they have to have their own personal state. Yeah, that's fine, but like don't write it for like each character. You have a game with over 100 enemies, that's a lot of wasted like that you would be wasting so much dev time trying to create like a unique solution for each enemy. Don't do that. That's how you waste development time on projects, and then you lose time for like polishing before you publish, or like also you introduce a lot of bugs. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, so that's the idea for movement. Talked about like how you could do like we've talked about, and we also showed how you could do like different types of like weapons. So like example, the electric shotgun. Oh yeah, targeting. Let's talk about combat code structure. Let's do aiming. Before actually, I'm gonna actually do the canvas first, because actually being able to like set up some stuff. Nice. All right, so aiming. Oh, what kind of aiming is there? Heat-seeking aiming. Lock on, like a lock on. Actually, no, that's not a type of aiming. That's actually I'll explain that later. Lock on. That's actually a trajectory, type of trajectory. Before I forget, I'm actually gonna like add this trajectory structure, because you might have different like weapon types that are trajectories. Like for example, I'm just using this chargeable weapon. You could make it where like whenever the weapon is fully charged, the little like electric shotgun shells that it sends out actually like heat seeks. So stuff like that. So lock on first person free aim. So two different aiming systems. I'm gonna actually call this aiming probably like aiming manager base, because a lot of the logic that's used in like first person free aim and lock on can actually be shared. You don't need to rewrite some of this. So what can you do? Fun fact, if you're using Unity and you ever want to do like a lock-on system, no joke, you could have a secondary, you could have like a secondary like camera. So I actually have a lock-on camera here. We actually have like the normal like player like follow camera, and then you actually have like a lock-on camera. Whenever you lock on, since we're just doing a first-person view style game, you just have a lock-on camera that just locks onto whatever you're currently targeting. That's all you need to do using Unity Cinemachine to make a basic lock-on system that actually rotates and locks on towards a target. And the nice thing about this is you can have like instead of just having like enemies, you could have like a interesting point, like maybe like maybe you see like a vine or like a rope bridge or something, and you want to lock onto like the rope and stuff. You want to like, so you could actually like shoot the rope down and make the bridge drop down. You could do something like that. So that's why I'm separating like the aiming systems. Instead of just locking on enemies, I want to be able to lock on interest points like I guess I'm gonna just call them lock-on points. I mean, that makes sense. So you have like different types of like lock-on points. Let's say lock-on manager. First person. I guess I should say like a first-person aim manager. Yeah. So you could have like lock-on points. These could be enemies, NPCs. Maybe you're trying to like lock onto a certain NPC inside a crowd that you want to like talk to. If you're in a bigger city, that can be a quality of life thing. Believe me. There's I forgot what game it was, but there's like a street vendor, and it was like a medieval game, and it was so hard to lock on and just talk to the freaking shopkeeper because it would try to lock on to every single person in the middle of the street. If you use like a system lock-on points where you actually predefine what can be locked on instead of just making it where everything can be locked on, you don't have to worry about that. It also makes it easier like to start setting up combat. So yeah, so what I'm gonna say is aim manager. I'm gonna say each type of lock-on system is gonna have a Cinemachine camera controller inside Unity. And basically like lock-on manager will actually keep track of like the current lock-on points that are on screen. And this is a very cheap way to do it. I mean, if you're just starting out and you just need like a simple lock-on system, one way you could do that, if I actually go to like the target, like if you're just starting out and like doing some testing, there's actually a method called like on become visible and on become invisible. I make this as one camera that moves around and just switches. Okay, there's a couple of reasons why I'm choosing not to do that. Do you know that is completely valid? That it is completely valid and so forth. The only reason why I'm not planning on doing that for this current project, like this setup is like project dependent base. The reason why I'm not doing it on this project is I want to make it where like whenever you're like locked on and so forth, you might want to have like the field of view change. Like if I go like, let's do this. You also might want to like make it where the camera can't rotate a little bit. So like whenever you're locked on, you might want to have the player actually just like hard lock onto a target. So you might not want your camera like might want your like normal like outside of lock-on system camera to allow you to like tilt the pan tilt, stuff like that, where you might want to have like the lock-on camera not have a pan tilt. So basically lock it from the player rotating, different things like that. Also changing field of view. So maybe like if you're locked onto something, you could have like like the field of view like lower a little bit to give like a fake zoom in effect, stuff like that. It depends on like project, but you can use one camera for both of them. It's just depending on how you want to set up. depending on what you're setting up, it might be easier to do 2 separate cameras, stuff like that. And honestly, it's not that hard to do like blending, because in Unity you have like if I go to Cinemachine Brain, you'll notice there is a setting for like blending, and I have like a list of custom blends. And like I could actually change. I can actually create like custom blend modes per like going from lock on to not lock on. Like I said, it's more of like a design choice for just how I'm setting up certain things. But having one camera is completely okay, and in certain cases, it might actually be the better solution. But yeah, that's just why I'm doing this. Oh, also, only bad thing about I just realized when I created the character. Actually, yeah, this needs to be those two were actually like correctly named, but I need to go and rename this camera. Oh, I just realized that when I was testing out lock on, I forgot I changed branches and I broke it. Yeah, so like, yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, it's just a testing thing. There's several things I need to like set up and design. One of those like early things where like it's such an early stage of project, it's currently figuring out what feels good and like what doesn't feel good, stuff like that. But yeah, so we got lock on manager, lock on points, we got enemies, NPCs that you can lock on, maybe interest points, stuff like that. Like there's so many different things you could set up for lock on points. All right, so lock on manager, first person name manager. Actually, instead of saying a manager, I think this actually should be controller, because normally you have a manager. A manager is actually also just say aim, just to make it like clear that it's one of the controllers for aiming. So like first person controller, allow pan tilt, no pan tilt. I don't know why I capitalized tilt here, but yeah. Let's see, what do we need? Since the lock-on aim controller, you don't need to like worry about like sensitivity controls. We probably should put like the camera sensitivity. Inside. Okay, well I've just spelled. Oh, 1 second, my little lizard is wanting out. You want out to? Hi. You? Oh, hello there, my little monkey. Fresh water and everything. I have a Savannah monitor. She's kind of been relaxing all day today, but she's wanting to come out. I just let her like roam around whenever she wants to. But yeah, all right. Camera sensitivity settings. Okay, we're gonna need that for like the first person. Don't need to worry about that on lock on camera. Yeah, probably separate that into like horizontal, vertical. And I'm trying to think. Like I was just trying to get like the basic idea of this stuff out. Honestly, it might be time. Hey Zix, how are you doing? But yeah, so yeah, like a base kind of like idea of like how to create like a customizable like weapons and so forth, like how to create different characters. I think it might be time for like projectile or like a trajectory. So like the reason why I say trajectory, imagine heat-seeking weapons are actually projectiles. Actually, yeah, let's say this. So I'm going to define a trajectory um, specifically as a path for a projectile. So trajectory is specifically going to be path for a projectile. So heat-seeking trajectory. So we can have heat-seeking trajectory. We can have like a wave motion. So like a wave motion. I'm gonna not type out the word. What I mean by wave motion, imagine this. Like imagine we have like yep, it's Obsidian. Imagine you have like a little like a weapon, and the bullet just actually moves in like a sine wave. So like it would just like go like, well, not able to like demonstrate it very well, but yeah, you get the idea. So like it goes like this, like old, imagine like old Star Galactic. So like it's serpentine maneuver. Just imagine it like does a serpentine maneuver thing. I was trying to think of a good way to like demonstrate or like mention that. Yeah, so you could have like a projectile, like a straight. You could have like a straight projectile. It literally just move uses the transform dot forward and just move straight. Reason why I say transform dot forward is, let's say like the bullet is actually like slightly like rotated for any reason. You want to make like maybe you're aiming the weapon upward a little bit, like maybe you're like trying to hit something in the air. You kind of want it the like a bullet to actually move just straight forward from like following the direction you're aiming. And then we're also probably going to need arc weapons. Arc. Think arrow, like imagine like arrows. Affected by gravity. Let's say just stay. Like, so imagine like you have like a little like arc. So that's probably the normal trajectory people imagine whenever you say the word trajectory. That's probably like the normal one is like a arrows like going slightly down as gravity affects it. So yeah. Yeah, so we'll do like yeah, we'll just have stuff like that. So basically these are like the most, trying to think other trajectories that we might have, but like for trajectories like that could be it. Straight could be like a sword swing, like a, let's do like a bullet, normal. And before anybody says Coriolis effect or any of that, yes, I know. Technically, bullets do not go in a straight line. For anybody that doesn't know, like real bullets are affected by the Coriolis effect, and actually like humidity, wind speed. So they're technically not straight, and technically they do drop by gravity. But for normally when you're talking about like a video game, it's like imagine drawing a raycast, pretty much like drawing a raycast. Just saying. Sniper rifle, like, well, no, sniper rifle is actually the bullets that get affected by Coriolis affect the most. But yeah, anyways, so think about that. Another type of straight projectile would be like a sword, like a sword projectile. Imagine like you swing a sword and like a shockwave comes out. See if I can find like a. See if I can like find an example of this, like what I'm exactly talking about. I think this might be a good example. Oh, okay. All right. So for research purposes, let's I'm gonna just be finding a lot of like freaking sword trails, aren't I, instead? Oh, alright, so yeah, here we go. Like this. Okay, so this is what I mean. Okay, that's not technically a sword, but like imagine you swing a sword and you just like release a forward moving projectile. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, just saying. But yeah, so here's our trajectory types for now. Basically, what I'm thinking about doing is like it's either going to be like like an actual like weapon property type, or something else. Well, do I want to have weapon property of that type? Reason why I say that is we might want trajectory for non-weapon based stuff. Oh, you know what? What I could do is so what we could do is have it be an interface. So like I trajectory interface interface that. So interface that defines a path of projectile or something else, and then I could just go to like projectile properties, and I could just say like we could have like one projectile property could be like literally just a I trajectory type definition. Like for example, if we actually like go and let's actually go here, let's actually grab like the veritable weapon data and stuff. We actually go to like let's say I'll just create like a trajectory. Make a plural. I'm just gonna put this in like yeah. So I'm thinking like something kind of like this. So we have like a I trajectory, and basically just say yeah, we'll just say like actually needs to be in like the physics module. I just something like this. So we have like an I trajectory, and then inside of like the a weapon projectile properties. So let's say like for example, let's say ooh, I know, I got an idea. Okay, let's go. Where is my projectile property? I have a great idea for like this actually. Let's do do. Okay, where did I put those? Oh, right, I forgot. I was just like throwing them inside that one thing. Let's go into where did I have these? Where? I forgot. Oh right, I was testing. I already have them inside the assembly. Oh yeah, so like I could actually just have like a public like a I trajectory or something like this here. I should have actually, yeah, I should have put this inside the assembly already because I already had the others inside assembly after. But anyways, imagine this: we have like a I trajectory here, and basically like it would actually reveal like a selection drop down inside the weapon, like any weapon that has like a fires a projectile, so we could actually choose what kind of like trajectory the weapon does. I'm actually gonna, yeah, you know what, let's actually go and do that. I was putting this stuff inside the sandbox folder for a little bit just because I was testing out ideas, but I think this is actually where I want, like the direction I want to actually go. Let's go ahead and actually like move some of this over from our like little sandbox folder. Instead of putting this inside the combat, I'm actually gonna just put it inside like a kind of like a, actually I might as well just like put inside trajectory folder. Let's just do this. All right, let it reload and so forth. Because I have assembly for my actual like code that's actually going to be inside project. I haven't been putting some of the stuff in there just while testing because I always want to make sure like this is how I actually want to do it. But yeah, no, now since I think about it, I think I'm good for what I was wanting. So we can actually have like a a eye trajectory inside of like the projectile weapon properties thing. So now we can actually like choose like what kind of trajectory we want. And well, how do we do that? Well, we gotta make a technically actual like editor. So what I'm gonna do is to make this simplified, we're gonna do the exact same thing here where I can actually like choose different type of properties. I'm gonna actually go into the folder and I'm gonna say physics. I'm actually gonna create trajectories a folder for like custom editors, and I'm gonna just say we're gonna try to match it on like, yeah, let's do trajectories like yeah, let's just say trajectories like data here. I'm gonna just create a new script. I'm gonna just say trajectory data editor. So let's say drop down. We'll just say like a trajectory drop down. That way we can actually like add it. So let's do this. We're gonna say editor import. Let's do custom editor. Now, normally you do custom editor. I think since it's just normal like type, Unity should be okay with what I'm about to do. I'm gonna actually test this out. I want to test out a couple things. So actually import the missing thing. Yeah, okay. Yep, okay. That's what I was thinking. Oh, whoops. Ooh, type of. There we go. And yeah, we're gonna just do that. So actually, I probably could just, no joke, just straight up yoink most of this. That way I'm not like doing it. I am gonna have to like customize some of this though, unfortunately. It would be too simple. I'm gonna make this a class. I actually am wondering if I should actually make this a class instead of a interface. And the reason why is I might actually want to have like a, for example, like a certain logic for like following the trajectories. Like example, let's say public void follow. I could say like follow trajectory. Okay, I'm gonna have to like play around with this idea. And basically, I could just have like whatever object controlling like follow trajectory that I calculate, something like that. I don't know. I'll have to like test out a couple different ideas. For now, I'm gonna just do a couple things up here. I need to be. Let's do this. Okay, so instead of my trajectory, I'm gonna rename this to trajectory. It's and no joke, I need to make like a type drop down menu actually. Trajectories, let's view. Oh well, that's just bad on me. That needs to be it's and trajectory trajectory types actually. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so I might actually want this as a yeah. Okay, so I might actually you have to use like a property drawer, and the reason why is target is normally a bigger like capitalized object, which is actually Oh no, that's actually is not Unity's actual object type. Okay, cool. Wait, I might actually be able to do what I'm thinking. Okay, one second. I am actually gonna, before I forget, I'm gonna close out some of these things, and we're gonna actually, that way I don't have them. I'm gonna drag this one over to side, and I'll have to rename. So what I'll do is I'm actually gonna just have this be a class instead, and don't forget to, and then have directory. And what I'm gonna do is do target, is that actually just Unity? Oh, it is Unity.object, correct. Okay, well, yeah, okay, so we're gonna have to use a property drawer instead. That is a-okay though. I mean, that's not a problem. Yeah, actually, yeah, okay, we're gonna have to use a property drawer instead. That's okay. Since trajectory won't be like inheriting from like mono behavior, so not a problem. We're gonna actually just make this serializable, or mark it as serializable, and then what we're gonna do is we're actually going to set this as, instead of a custom editor, it's going to be a custom property drawer. Actually, oh, I might, okay, might be able to do this a lot simpler. So what I could do is instead, yeah, okay, I could actually do this a lot simpler. All right, guys, I'll be coming back to this. I'm actually gonna, before I forget, I'm actually going to go ahead and just like comment this out. That way it doesn't cause any errors and stuff. But I actually have an idea. It'll take me to do a couple things, and I want to test the idea out like off stream. I do have like a fun idea of how I could just set that up, make it a little bit easier. Alright, so this stream is basically me trying to design stuff. I don't want to do like hardcore coding. Yet, well, yet at least. Anyway, so we have idea of weapon properties. We have like a projectile properties, range weapon properties, types of weapon data, projectile data, different types of like trajectory, aim controllers. You come from? Be gone, random thing. There we go. Idea of like aim controllers with lock-on points. Got like ideas for like different movement and so forth. Honestly, like for now, that might be what all I want to like focus on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually, like I said, for this one stream, I just want to like mock out like different like ideas of like different things I'm gonna need, and like now I'm gonna organize ideas because, well, there's several things that I need to figure out. So let's try to think if there's anything else. Oh wait, there's one more thing. Okay, hold on. No, multiplayer system or structure. Yeah, we actually need to talk about multiplayer structure because it's going to be three, like you and two other people, like three people can be in one world. So let's actually talk about multiplayer server structure. Okay, first connection manager. This basically will control like network network related callbacks. Callback are actually callbacks related to client to the client. For anybody that doesn't hasn't seen like Unity's thing, Unity has like on like a connection callbacks for like client connected and so forth. Like for example, if I actually like go I love how like Google's first result is just so old. For instead of going to like the like look at this, it goes to like the like that's not even a package. Um I was gonna like off like also sorry if we went from like yeah bright mode to or like a dark mode to bright mode. Yeah, there we go. I'm using netcode 2.11. So if I actually go to like a couple of things, there's like the network manager here. The network manager actually has a set of like connection related callbacks and also like connection data stuff that I'm gonna have to be implementing. Um, yeah, like connected clients, stuff like that. So I'm going to be using that as my. I'm actually going to bring this over right side so I can keep it up. So connection manager basically will control like the network callbacks related to client. I'll also have like a certain session related data, like session options when a game session. Uh, let's see what else. No, connected clients list maybe. Connected clients, or let's say network manager dot connected client data. But actually just basically it's gonna keep like this kind of information. Might not have to use these. I might actually be just able to use iSession, like stuff like that. And like so, like whenever you're doing multiplayer stuff, you can have like your local like client data and stuff. There's also like I need our session manager. I know connection manager and session manager, they are two different things, I swear. So session manager is basically what controls the overall like game session. So like session like what is loaded like on the session like server. So like imagine this, like you create a session and like the session can load like different lobbies and stuff like that. So like session manager is basically implementation of like the iSession interface inside Unity. So like actually I could actually bring up code. Oh yeah, I forgot I need to comment that out. But we're gonna need a session manager, connection manager. Now there was some stuff actually done. So you have like your netcode for game objects package, but then there's also like the Unity's like multiplayer service package, and that also will have some stuff. It's a fun time. There's a lot. There's a lot to think about whenever you're working on stuff like this. Oh, I actually almost went to like Unity 6.6. I was like, nope, not using Unity 6.6. Use online documentation. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this over just so we can show this off. I'll need to do like a network manager. We're gonna need to do session manager, and session manager will basically control like the multiplayer session. There we go. And basically multiplayer, like the iSession controls like data for like joining a session. Like imagine like session passwords. If you have a session password, so only people that have the password can join your session. Certain matchmaking session data, or like creating a new session, stuff like that. So that's basically what the session manager will deal with. But we're gonna need to do that. We're gonna need a session manager, which is basically that. We're also probably gonna need now. Unity has like a iHost session and like a built-in like client session. Um, so depending on like how you're doing your, like depending on how you're doing a multiplayer project, if you're doing like something like, let's say, distributed authority, so like a topology for like distributed authority, which is what we are going to be using, distributed authority topology. We're probably going to be using what is called like iClient session. If I remember right, like there's host session, and then there's like iClient session, and then there's iSession, which both iHost and iClient actually inherit from. So an iClient session just is basically gives you like extra stuff on top of like the iSession thing. But I'm trying to like. Oh right, I forgot. Okay, so fun fact in Unity multi-services 2 thing. So if we actually go back, they actually just have like iSession, and then they just have like the host session. I was meaning server session, not like a client session. I was like, wait a second, that's all right. But we're going to be using 2.1. No, I think that means I can just basically use like a session info on setting up a few things. Yeah, I can just actually set up that. Yeah, this stream is basically me preparing, getting all the stuff organized for what I'm going to need, and then work on that. Oh, I'm iClient session network. So, yeah, that might actually be a few things that I might actually need. Yeah, okay, so that's actually, I might actually want to use the iClient session network to actually set up some stuff, because I'm pretty sure that might be a little bit easier to actually check. I want to see something, because client, one of those is the newer one. The newer one is the one that we wanted to use. Yeah, okay, yeah, so yeah. Yeah, okay, come in and out of games with the same multiplayer session. So like if you disconnect and reconnect, okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Add a network property on. Oh, okay, so iSession actually just implements both of them. Okay, good. That's good to know. Yeah, okay. That's actually good to know. Because now I don't have to worry about that. I want to see what the changes are basically. Yeah, so multiplayer servers, server service, session options, with network options. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna be needing to implement some of these. Okay, cool. I'm kind of getting hungry, guys, and it's starting to get a little hot. I'm gonna call it for a little bit, and then and I'm gonna like work on like the session manager and the networking manager for like a multiplayer. Basically, my goal is by the end of today, with the updated stuff, create a system that easily allows like multiple players to actually like join into the testing grounds room, and then like actually interact with like the same targets and stuff like that. But yeah, stream's been a giant like planning session, or like just idea session, basically brainstorming. I think I got like the path I want to go. So I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna get water. I'm gonna cool off because it's getting like super hot. Thank you all for joining. I'll stream more tomorrow. I might stream more tonight after I get the multiplayer, because I might be like, hey, who wants to test out multiplayer inside the like the testing ground I'm about to be making? But we'll see. I know I'm going to stream more tomorrow. I'll have multiplayer done, like where people can actually like connect and so forth. But in today, because I've already done it before, I just want to like clean up how I do it with some new features that just simplify it. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Take it easy. Hope you guys have a wonderful day.